Fikile Mbalula just went on a massive mission today to publicly destroy Jacinta Ngobese over the June 30th shutdown, but his attack just backfired spectacularly. In a desperate bid to crush her movement, the ANC Secretary-General dropped a fatal blunder on live record. He accidentally admitted the absolute truth. President Cyril Ramaphosa's government is completely vrot and has utterly failed. The ruling party is in an absolute state of panic as the reality of the June 30th demonstrations completely tears through their defenses. Instead of fixing the crisis on the ground, Mbalula tried to play dirty, only to score a massive, humiliating political own goal that is currently sending shockwaves across South Africa. We are rolling the exact tape to expose this massive skelm move and break down how his desperate strike against Jacinta just handed her the ultimate victory. If you want the raw, unfiltered truth the mainstream media is trying to bury, smash that like button right now. Subscribe to Patriotic Mzansi News and share this video immediately. Jabilani, please show them the video.
Members of the media, thank you very much for honoring us by attending this media briefing, enabling us as a party to communicate our views, our decisions, and also our positions in the public discourse, in the narratives that have been built. As much as we will be talking about other issues, but in the main, we will focus on the 30th of June. Good afternoon to you all, and through you, the people of South Africa. The 30th of June has come and gone. As the dust settles, we wish to speak plainly to the nation, to reflect honestly on what we have just lived through, and to place on record 2 decades before the public. Let us begin with gratitude. On the 30th of June, the country stood firm. They called for a shutdown. South Africa did not shut down. Our children went to school. Our workers went to work. Our buses, our taxis, and our trains ran. Our clinics and our shops stayed open. The economy kept its feet, and we foresee no grave job losses from the action. For this, we thank the overwhelming majority of South Africans who refused to be conscripted into anarchy. And we thank the men and women of the South African Police Service for maintaining law and order in the Republic. The Border Management Authority for the sterling job they are doing on a daily basis, and our security services who stood their ground with professionalism and restraint. Where there was violence, intimidation and looting, because there was, the law took its course, and it will continue. Democratic Alliance, and delayed by others in that house. It took us a long time to establish PMA. It is an easy thing to shout about borders on a march. It is another thing entirely to vote to secure them. The ANC did the work, others stood in the way, and now pretend otherwise. In fact, the Democratic Alliance, including the Minister of Home Affairs, who has been praised the other day, have gone silent on this particular challenge. I've never seen him. The DA is very fast to claim victories. They met with Jacinta and his group in secret. They've never raised their voice. where people were being attacked right in the city of Cape Town. I never saw even the mayor of the DA in the forefront. And we are not standing still. There is now a bill before Parliament that will make the first safety country the proper jurisdiction in which to seek asylum, so that a person fleeing genuine persecution claims protection at the first safe border they reach, and not after crossing a dozen peaceful countries to arrive at ours. Let us be plain about what this is and what it is not. It is not a closing of our doors, and our security services, who stood their ground with professionalism and restraint. Where there was violence, intimidation and looting, because there was, the law took its course, and it will continue to do so. We have said it before and we say it again. The enforcement of immigration law is the work of the democratic state, and the state alone. No mob, no march, and no self-appointed commander may take that power into their own hands. Have we met March and March? We don't have a problem to meet anyone. We'll meet with them at any given point in time. I've explained that, but we're happy that they were meeting with authorities in government, because it's an NGO, March and March. They've met with the authorities, they've engaged with authorities, and that is it. But you must also appreciate the fact that there have been deep political utterances right from the onset. Government has failed, government must be removed. When somebody says that, it closes you down. And then the next step, no, we're fighting illegal immigration. But in this illegal immigration, we must be conscious of the fact that we have been failed by government, and government must go. And then in this election that is coming, do not vote for the ANC. Vote for the following parties. You must be conscious that you are no longer dealing with immigration. You are dealing with what is this? People with a political agenda. And that truth will come. You are going to see it. That this thing is not just a movement, it's a others might not have a political party. Pakela says, addressing, give IFP a chance here in Johannesburg, addressing people on immigration. He says, no, bakithi kaninike inkatha nje ithuba lokuphatha. Inkatha ike yaphatha phi? Yoyise kuphatha pha iKZN. Siyayincedisa uphatha pha. Sa withdraw sihambe noZuma ajonge. Akho nto isibambezeleyo kubo. There's nothing. But we are not anarchic. We build in this country. That's why we went for GNU. And we get a beating for that, even from our allies. But we put South Africa first. And that is what we did. So this thing is going to change, and they are going to fight among themselves, because others are not there for those politics. They are genuinely in the march and march to fight for what is right. Do I stand here and say the issues that have been raised, that undocumented illegal immigrants are doing horrible things in our townships? I will be lying. I was a minister of police. I went to Kagiso. People burnt down a police station because some guy and some people, drug cartels and all of that, were doing horrible things. I was in the Val. I saw it with my eyes. So a person who marches because of that, his or her child was captured by drug cartels and some of them died. because of drugs and all of that. That thing is not a slogan. It is there, it exists. But those people are not marching in March and March because they want to promote a political party. They are genuinely there because they want this issue to be addressed. And once the matter is addressed, the political party spirit for those who've got ill intentions and political intentions is going to come out. And it is coming out bit by bit. So, mark my words, it is coming. This event's taken a violent turn, and so on. News 24, Masungwini, I don't know what you make of the numbers. I don't want to argue with you, but I saw people who were mobilized in and around, even from the hostels, marching, and a build-up around Johannesburg and the surrounding areas, and as well as eThekwini. But all other provinces, even though there were marches, but they were not big. But that should not be the issue for the ANC. The ANC should be concerned that there's a possibility that our people can be hijacked against itself and be turned against the ANC on this very issue. It's not a question of there were 50 or 100 or 20. That's the first thing we need to consider. Secondly, we need to read the room correctly, which we agree with the people. Are the issues that have been raised? Leave the figures who are leading. Are these issues not real? They are real. First, admit to those issues. And then, because you are leading GNU, you are a governing party, address the concern. Do not be oblivious and say that, no, they are drunk. Some of them get money from Israel and the CIA. You don't have even, some of them get money from the... No, that should not be an issue, preoccupation. That reality will come out. That people have got money to mobilize, they can travel. I don't know, these people are using jets or what. Pakela, I saw him in Joburg in the morning, in the afternoon he was in Durban. I said, hey, I'm resourceful, even we politicians, ANC has to hire a jet for you to campaign in 3 cities. Now, some guy in jail from Nongoma can travel from city to city. It's a concern, because we don't want our state and our country to be hijacked for ulterior motives. We don't. But that should not be our preoccupation. We are hard at work now to address the very same issues they are talking about. Me and you, we know the truth about the issues that they are addressing. And that is why there is a conflict of knowledge and data around the question of how many undocumented people are in the country. Stats SA says it is not the numbers that people have projected, 30 million, which means it's half of the South African population. Stats SA talks about 3 point something million people who are undocumented in our country. And Risenga, the SG, the Statistician General, has given us that particular data. But others have been saying that there are 40 million people here. 5,000 people when they are marching, you will think that there are many. Take a drone and look at them. You will realize that there are 5,000. That's why we fight as the ANC all the time with the numbers, with the journalists. Because the journalist will just look at you and say there were 1,000 people there. And then we say you are lying with 20,000. They say you were 1,000 max. You were not 20,000 and all of that. And then they start to give you the analogy of this. But me and you and this group, if we get into the street and march, maybe say we are 5,000, we'll make this street look like if you take especially a view, make people to think that you were many. Imapai Chachalazen, there next to Market Theatre, fill that place and call the cameras. Then we'll know you were 20,000 there. Not when you are running around, running amok, promoting violence, doing anything. Marches were peaceful in most parts of the country, but they were more vibrant in Gauteng and Durban, eThekwini. But everywhere in the country, 170 people were marching. Even in KwaGompo, where a king was installed, the numbers were not as big as that time. And business became business as usual. But the mobilization, we saw it. It was targeting Cape Town, City, Central. It was targeting Eastern Cape. It was targeting all parts of Gauteng. And then KZN. And you were bound to see numbers there. And then in Gauteng, where did it go? Soweto, Johannesburg, Central, and then Ekurhuleni, those areas. And even Pretoria, where we used to have a problem, bigger problem, of a settlement of illegal immigrants, did not explode in terms of numbers and all of that. So local government there and government have done a good work to repatriate these people from Pretoria Central, and they continue to do that. So a lot of work has been covered. So we don't argue with the numbers. The question is, what is it that is being addressed? And that's what we need to attend to. Whether there were 40,000 people and all of that, of course the ANC gets worried when people get mobilized and they respond to some of the issues that we think normally will be blamed on the ANC government, which is what everybody will say. And that is what we are rebutting here. To say that, no, we are in this problem because of them. And now we reminded them. We have been addressing these problems since it came to the center stage. South Africa prides itself of Ubuntu. There are many things that are happening, which we agree are a direct result of illegal immigration. The ANC urges government to place this compact on the agenda of the African Union's mid-year coordination meeting at Al Ain in Egypt. It is not an instrument of exclusion, nor a retreat from the African inheritance of generosity. To those in flight, it is a structural offering rooted in Ubuntu and in solidarity of the frontline states that once sheltered our own. We are not being blackmailed when we are reminded about our history, but equally, we must address the truth and the facts that illegal immigration has become a burden for South Africa and affected South Africa and South Africa alone. Movement from accusation to understanding, from blame to shared responsibility, from crisis to compact. That is the movement we need to build. We need to set the record straight. 2 decades of action on immigration. A lie is circulating in our politics that the ANC government has done nothing about undocumented immigration. The opportunists repeat it. Too many swallow it. Today, we place the facts on the table and we let the people judge for themselves. The removals, the numbers do not lie. The democratic state, led by the ANC up to the point of the GNU today, has legally deported hundreds of thousands of people who had no lawful right to remain in the Republic. Between January 2012 and December 2016 alone, some 370,000 people were deported. Nearly 9 in 10 of them our neighbors from Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Lesotho. And the pace has quickened, not slackened. From 39,000 removals in 2023-2024 to 51,000 in 2024-2025, a 30% rise, and again to 57,000 in 2025-2026, with tens of thousands more this year at our ports of entry and in our communities. This is not the record of a government that has done nothing. It is the record of a state that enforces its laws, year in, year out, firmly and lawfully. This does not catch the cameras and the media. What catches the media is those who enter illegally in our country and settle in their numbers around our townships and the metropoles. This is not new and it is not small. At its peak in 2007, the democratic state legally deported some 300,012 people in a single year, the highest on record, and the work continues at our frontiers today. In a single festive season, the Border Management Authority intercepted more than 50,000 people at our ports and borderline, and attempted unlawful crossings have since fallen sharply. This is a state that acts and has acted for 2 decades. When the courts state our hand, here is the part the opportunists never tell you, time and again. When this government has moved to enforce immigration law, it has...
So, comrades, the question of immigration requires states to act together, and even multilateral forums to act together. And therefore, ethno-nationalism that is projected in our country cannot be allowed to go on unchallenged. It undermines the very intervention we seek to make, which we have said to our deployees in government, act decisively. You can't have a country where people leave from Pakistan with an aeroplane via Dubai and they come through the chimney at OR Tambo. I was a minister, I was there. I found more than 100 people in a chimney at OR Tambo Airport. I was a minister of police. I changed the whole police battalion at OR Tambo because they were just there trafficking. And the police union fought with me. I'm still in court with them, even though I'm no longer minister, because I changed them. Because if you can leave a policeman in that particular environment permanently, he looks like a furniture. He end up doing drugs. So they must be changed, these people. From time to time, dabachincha. Elements of counter-revolution, comrades, will project South Africa for what it is not. That was xenophobic. We hate Africans, and we hate them with passion. We beat them up in our country, and poor Africans. We shouldn't do that. But the state must help us to close gap to these hooligans who are doing this thing and all of that. The reports that we got are favorable in a particular direction. I was a minister of police. We have one of Lingani. Emanguzi. We also changed the police battalion there. But in Manguzi, between Mozambique and South Africa, there is no fence there. They steal cars, and then they cross through that fence. It's not even a fence, I don't know what to call. And then they cross into the side of Mozambique, and then they say bye-bye. The police can't chase them. The army is patrolling there. There is no wall there. Everybody goes in and out as they wish, anytime. People commit crime here in South Africa. Bazinkabi bahambe bayocasha eMozambique. Babe bebulale abantu apha South Africa. People we can't trace even in terms of fingerprints. Cartels. I've worked on this as a Minister of Police in Mzansi. You will know. I found brothels there, which were owned by illegal immigrants, where your children as young as 15 years have been there for sex. And the owners, when we look at them, we can't find them. Right downtown Johannesburg, there are buildings that are occupied. And when you get inside the building, all of the people, siyabakhipha amaphoyisa, sibafolisa abantu abana maphepha. You ask them, where do you come from? Zimbabwe. How did you come here? No, I came here because I'm looking for a job and all of that. Comrades, our economy and our country is not xenophobic. There are people who sell their skill in our country. Universities in their very nature are international. We've got African intellectuals who are occupying our universities and have made them shine. There's no problem there. And there are people who have come here and invested in our economy from the African continent. They are here legally. There's no issue. When ungasuka nje uyochopisa umkhukhu nje eNigeria, uvela uhlale kube mnandi udanase nje.
Because of our oppression and under apartheid, we believe that white people are superior. That's just practical things that have happened around us. Are we dealing with something that is far-fetched, not real? It is real, the issue of illegal immigration. We can go out now. I make this example. I was Minister of Police. There are buildings here in and around Johannesburg. They are occupied by people who've got no documentation. And if that person were to smash and grab your phone and anything else, you won't find them anywhere. They are undocumented. They are not in our system, no fingerprints, nothing. So they can be hired guns. But equally, there is a security question if you don't address the issue of illegal immigration properly. It's not about hatred. It's about the security and sovereignty of a country. And that's why when we went to exile, we were confined in camps in Angola. We were not allowed to settle anyhow, anyway. We were given camps. We were given Somafco in Tanzania to settle there. We were not allowed to go in Tanzania and just settle anyhow. Governments of Nyerere, of Dos Santos, gave us designated land in the bushes to train guerrillas in a guerrilla warfare. And they gave us shelter. So here people come, they settle anyhow. I was in Gabeg one time as Minister of Transport. The people of Somali origin chased us with weapons of war. And police told us straight, we can't enter there. Those people are heavily armed. They said, and this is Zanapa Nizauborn. Children are watching. I don't want to say it. And everybody ran. Here around and other areas we went, people did not have documentation. We went into the buildings. These buildings are not abandoned. They are owned by people who have left this country. They are living somewhere. And somebody is owning a building here. He's not even a South African. He's not documented. He's allowing people to stay there at a particular amount every month. And that person is collecting money. And these are buildings that are here. Those of you who know, we went to Kagiso when I was Minister of Police and demolished cartels and buildings and all of that. Communities were fighting there because these people were transporting drugs in the townships. That was genuine fight of our people. I went there, and there are still cops. Bongani will know as my security advisor that time, that there are cops who took me to court today, which I shifted from Kagiso, because they were branded to be in cahoots with criminal cartels. And I did not say that. It is communities who said that. And then I said to the General, shift these people. O.R. Tambo, I invited you as journalists, some of you were there, Goga, you were there. When Pakistanis entered O.R. Tambo through, what is this thing? No, they entered through the airport. Now the question is in terms of FOP, flight plan. How does somebody take off from Pakistan via Dubai to O.R. Tambo and then be transported through Ibizwadon to Chimich land? Yes, and come out of that thing, jump into the country illegally, out of O.R. Tambo. So I know, and we know this thing of porous borders. So that shows. Now BMA was not in migration, community tensions, and the threats around June 30. Nowhere is the first promise of the Freedom Charter that South Africa belongs to all who live in it more sorely tested today than on the question of migration. We speak with compassion, with firmness, and above all, in defense of the rule of law and the unity of our nation. Let us first place the facts before the public, because they are too often drowned out by noise and by those who profit from fear. Government is acting, and it is acting at a scale. The Department of Home Affairs reports more than 110,000 deportations in the year to date, and the cancellation of some 2,000 fraudulently obtained study visas. Our police service and the Interministerial Committee on Migration report more than 40,000 arrests of undocumented persons this year, over 7,400 of them in the past month alone, and 143 persons arrested for inciting violence against foreign nationals. This is a state enforcing its laws firmly and without apology. The repatriation of those with no lawful right to remain is being conducted in an orderly and humane manner, and 143 persons arrested for inciting violence against foreign nationals. This is a state enforcing its laws firmly and without apology. The repatriation of those with no lawful right to remain is being conducted in an orderly and humane manner. In KwaZulu-Natal, by the evening of the 20th of June, 4,907 Malawian nationals had been safely returned home from a single gathering point, with women and children moved first. Hundreds more have been returned through the Mwanza border, and 980 of our neighbors were repatriated with dignity in a single convoy on the 11th of June. South Africa does not operate refugee camps, and we have no intention of creating them. but nor will we abandon the principle that even those who return home are returned in safety and with their dignity intact. Our borders too are being made secure. The Border Management Authority, a new authority that has been established to address the question that is upon us of porous borders, is driving a 12.5 billion overhaul of 6 of our major ports of entry, deploying drones, modern surveillance, and 5,500 additional officers along the borderline. The result is a hardening of our frontier and a sharp reduction in unlawful crossings. This work was started by Minister Motsoaledi and carried over to the new administration of the GNU. Thousands attempting to cross illegally have been intercepted and turned back. Smuggling syndicates have been disrupted, and the authority of the state has been restored mile by mile along our boundaries. We commend, as the ANC, the Border Management Authority under Doctor, who is leading Masia Pato, who is leading the BMA, the JCPS led by Minister Mamluko Kubai for this work. I've spoken here on behalf of the African National Congress.
Muito obrigado. Falei aqui em nome do partido ANC.
We are a country of 60 million people.
Nós somos país com 60 milhões de habitantes.
There are many people who come to our country.
Muitas pessoas vêm ao nosso país.
And many come to our country to contribute to the wealth of our economy and the progress of our country.
Muitos contribuem para o desenvolvimento econômico do país, para a criação de riqueza no nosso país.
They are in the universities teaching our children.
Alguns estão nas universidades como docentes.
They are in the different sectors of the economy.
Estão em vários setores da economia.
I've explained that South Africa and Mozambique have got good relations.
Eu já expliquei que África do Sul e Moçambique têm boas relações.
There are people in our country who have taken it upon themselves.
Há indivíduos no nosso país
and some of the things that have happened cannot be associated
que são responsáveis pelas coisas que estão a
with the
acontecer.
view that South Africa and South Africans are xenophobic.
Estão a tentar criar uma imagem de que a África do Sul ou o povo sul-africano é xenófobo.
Yes, we do have a big challenge of illegal immigration in South Africa.
É verdade que temos grande desafio com imigrantes ilegais na África.
It's not a South African unique problem.
Não é problema particular da África do Sul.
There are many countries that are affected by this.
Muitos países enfrentam o mesmo.
South Africa is part and parcel of the signatory of the Geneva Convention.
África do Sul é parte dos signatários da Convenção de Genebra.
We must deal with this challenge within the parameters of the law.
Devemos atuar dentro dos perímetros da lei,
but not hatred,
mas nunca com ódio.
which we have come to be associated with.
E esse ódio está sendo associado
That
a
we
nós,
don't want Africans.
que parece que nós não
We
queremos
chase Africans
africanos.
like animals and dogs.
Nós corremos com os
That's why
africanos.
government has adopted a program of action
Por isso é que temos agora
to
programa de
deal
ação
with this particular challenge,
para lidar com este
which the
desafio.
president announced publicly.
O presidente anunciou publicamente.
We have called for law enforcement and calmness
Já pedimos para que
and follow the
o
action
povo
plan
esteja
of
calmo
what the government has actually announced.
e que devemos seguir aquilo que o governo já anunciou.
We have made it very clear as the ANC.
Como a ANC, nós tornamos
We
muito claro
cannot and we should not
que não
be
devemos
associated
estar associados
with anything that amounts to hate crime.
com tudo o que tem a ver com crime de ódio.
In this particular instance, the majority of South Africans
Neste caso, a maioria dos
are people of Ubuntu,
são pessoas
Humanity.
caracterizadas com humanidade.
Because we too, we would never have been free
Porque nós não seríamos livres
if the world did not stand with us
se o mundo não estivesse ao nosso
in the
lado
fight against
na
apartheid.
nossa luta contra o apartheid.
And we do recognize equally
Nós reconhecemos também
those who say, among others,
os que dizem, entre outros,
promoting some of the acts
e que promovem alguns destes
that
atos,
our country cannot be associated with,
de que o nosso país não se refere,
that who have never been in situations.
que nunca estiveram em situações,
But must equally remember that we are free today
mas devemos lembrar que
because somebody has had to take a sacrifice.
porque alguém sacrificou-se por nós.
Samora Machel,
Samora
the
Machel,
president of
o
Mozambique,
presidente de Moçambique,
took that sacrifice.
sacrificou.
Many combatants of Mozambique
Muitos combatentes
died at the hands of apartheid.
moçambicanos morreram.
Many
nas
of
mãos.
our people died here in Mozambique,
Muitos dos nossos cidadãos, do nosso povo,
harbored and protected by the
apareceu aqui em Moçambique,
Frelimo government,
protegidos
led
pelo
by
governo
President
da
Samora
Frelimo,
Machel.
sobre a liderança do presidente Samora Machel.
We can never associate ourselves with any act that seeks to spew
Não podemos nos associar a qualquer ato
hatred
que
and xenophobia.
mostra ódio e xenofobia.
The Sustainable Conference Against Xenophobia and Racism was held in South Africa in Durban.
Nós tivemos uma conferência contra o racismo e a xenofobia, aconteceu em Durban.
That is why when our people were subjected, the Mozambicans, to terrorism and Africa intervened, we were party to that solution.
Por isso, quando nós soubemos que o Moçambique estava a ser atacado, que havia focos de terrorismo, nós, como África do Sul, nos juntamos a essa luta.
We believe that the African Union, in its meeting in Egypt at Al Ain,
A União Africana, numa reunião em Amém,
must deal with this challenge of illegal immigration.
decidiu que tinha que se lidar com esta questão de imigração ilegal.
Otherwise, humanity is risking degeneration
Senão a humanidade está em risco de degeneração,
of the West order.
degeneração das piores formas.
We believe leaders must rise
Nós acreditamos que as lideranças devem se erguer
in dealing with this particular matter.
e lidar com este assunto.
In South Africa, we are not grappling, we are all hands on deck dealing with this challenge.
Na África do Sul estamos muito empenhados para resolver este desafio.
Thank you.
Muito obrigada.